In 2006, Richards Rwanda was founded by an 11-year-old Jessica Markowitz. Her inspiration for the organization came from a man named Richard Kananga. He was visiting Jessica's family from Rwanda. While he was there, he told Jessica stories about how the genocide had affected his country and how girls there needed support because they couldn't afford education. After Jessica heard those stories, she was determined to help those girls. She came to SGS and inspired a group of 12 girls to fundraise and reach out to support girls orphaned by the genocide.
Do all this work in Seattle, and then we come to Rwanda, and it's such an amazing feeling to see exactly what you're doing. And so my recommendation is to find something you're passionate about and to dig deep in there because it changes who you are.
When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. And then it goes back, and then it goes back, and then it goes back. Oh, born to a throne, stronger than Rome, but violent prone, poor people's zone. But it's my home, all I have known, where I got grown. Streets we would roam, out of the darkness I came the farthest, among the hardest survival. Learn from these streets, it can be bleak, except no defeat.
She comes with the students from the US. These girls and the students that you always come with here, they don't know what you are doing to them.
Our work in Nyamata inspired a group of girls in Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, to create their own chapter of Richards Rwanda, called Create a Smile. Create a Smile mentors the girls in Nyamata, helping them both socially and academically. They visit them on a monthly basis.
You're a good soldier, choosing your battle. Pick yourself up and dust yourself off and back in the saddle. You're on the front line, everyone's watching. You know it's serious, we're getting closer, this isn't over. The pressure's on, you feel it, but you got it all, believe it. When you fold it up, oh, oh, and if you fold it up, eh, eh, tamina, sangalewa, 'cause this is Africa.
Their families lived through the unspeakable horror of a national tragedy in 1994. 1 million of a population of 8 million. 1 of every 8 people living there was brutally murdered in an ethnic cleansing. 100 days, 1 million lives.
So our first day at what was it called, Abadzima, which is the genocide survivor haven, I guess. Theo was telling us about how the man who killed his father was in prison and his father was dead, and he was talking about all the similarities between that man's family and his family. For example, they both don't have husbands. His mom and the man's wife both don't have husbands, and he went so far to even say that he stood on the altar at the man who killed his father's son's wedding, and it was just beautiful how a country could forgive that deeply after something had been so hard.
The whole point of raising awareness for the genocide is to look back and remember and not forget, but be able to move on. And if only Rwanda does that, then it will be prevented in Rwanda, but not in the rest of the world. And things like Darfur will continue to happen. And so educating it worldwide, even in places like the United States, is really important to do. So that's definitely what I'm going to look forward to doing back at home.
The country today provides an example of forgiveness and unbelievable compassion. It also shows us why we must actively promote tolerance and speak up when others are targeted. That really resonates with the SGS mission.
And regardless of their possessions, not having almost anything and coming from poverty, but they still just don't care and live a happy life and have hope and faith in their future. And I think that's a really amazing trait that a lot of Americans lack and that I always take with me back home to try to implement in my life and encourage others to think like that.
And it's amazing to me that people, especially kids who've grown up with the story of genocide, can be so trusting of strangers in their community and they can love each other for it.
This trip has given me a very expanded global perspective of the world, things I wouldn't see at home I saw here, and I don't know, it's changed me as a person.
One thing that I want to try and bring back with me is I want to try as much as possible to portray that forgiveness and that respect for my family members and my friends, and just tell them every day, it's really cliche, but just tell them how much I love them and how much they mean to me, because I mean, a lot of people, well, all the Tutsis pretty much had no idea this was going to happen. I think these girls have changed in a lot of ways, but most importantly their confidence has grown immensely. They started out as very shy girls who didn't ever want to speak or stand up, and now they raise their heads high and they speak up and they're happy and they're really, really confident in comparison to the first time, and that is an incredible change.
When we come in and we're their friends, it makes it more exciting for them to learn English. They become more confident in speaking it, more inspired to learn English, which in turn makes them have better test scores because they can speak English better, and then also they have started becoming more powerful in their communities, and they can teach their communities and their neighbors stuff that they learn in school that we also help teach them or we provide for them.
It was surprising how trusting and kind everyone was, especially after what happened here after the genocide. And for example, little kids would just walk up and grab your hand and smile up at you, and you could talk to them and pick them up and like play games with them. And unlike in the US, if that happened, the parent would be like, "Get away from my child, I'm gonna call the cops, please go away and stop creeping on my child." I mean, there's not that kind of, I don't know, trust and environment in the US, which is surprising because you'd think after the genocide people would be more paranoid and distrusting of each other, but it seems almost like the opposite, like they've really healed and become closer as a community.
I definitely feel like I've grown a lot on this trip. I feel like I'm more open with new people after meeting the girls and interacting with them, and I think my outlook on life has definitely changed as well. Seeing how happy and positive the Rwandan people were, it makes my problems seem pretty irrelevant.
I'm definitely going to try to apply myself more when it comes to school, because the girls there are so motivated even when they have so little, or maybe not even that much to be motivated with. And I'm gonna try to get straight A's, also to show the girls that if I can get straight A's, so can they, because I think that'd be great. I really want to try to just be nicer to people, and I guess just have a more, be more positive and have just a really positive vibe when I interact with people, because just all the people there are so kind and generous, and I just actually kind of look up to them. And also, it really makes me want to work on my public speaking, and this trip has given me more confidence in public speaking, because there were multiple times where I had to stand up in a room with 40 people and talk, which really pushed me out of my comfort zone. Also, it's just really put my priorities in check. Like, I used to care so much about clothes and celebrities and what have you, but honestly, like, this trip has just made me realize, like, does it really matter?
One thing that I'll definitely remember and take away from the trip is how welcoming and happy the people were, even after the hardships that they've faced, even after 1 in every 8 people were slaughtered. And the spirit of the country just didn't feel heavy.
I just realized how much we take for granted here. I mean, I think our society is very centered around photographs, and we have Instagram and Facebook, and so photographs are really casual, really like normal thing. It's not a big deal. But in Rwanda, most of them have never seen a photograph of themselves and don't have any way to get photographs of themselves. And also, most of them have never even looked at themselves in a mirror. So, yeah, we've really been taking for granted everything we have.
You make me smile like the sun, fall out of bed, sing like a bird, dizzy in my head, spin like a record, crazy on a Sunday night. You make me dance like a fool, forget how to breathe, shine like gold, buzz like a bee. Just the thought of you can drive me wild. Oh, you make me smile.
Going to Rwanda has given me a totally new perspective, and it's awesome to have friends all the way across the world. And Rwanda has somehow become kind of a second home to me. Over the 2 weeks I was there, I was very nervous at first, but in the end, just the joy that I see every day when we were there was just awesome, and it kind of makes you feel, I don't know, more happy and kind of amazed. That it made me feel very honored to have been able to go on this trip and been a part of something like this.
Be small, now it's time to chop money. Somebody say na bania, na takwa nefe omowania. See them girls, them plenty. Waka waka baby, wuru wuru baby. I go tell my mama, I go tell my papa, and I go tell am say, you be waka waka baby, you be wuru wuru baby. Corner, corner, baby. Sango sango baby, pararara baby. Oh baby sawale, sawa sawa sawale, sawa sawa sawale. Ashawo. Hey hey.
BGB meet for this one. SYV record. Yo, General Spin, il paye à tout de Brest du Palage. Remnants, we beg this bitch, say this.